So now here I am with my adult son and replaying. I mean, but this time I'm not relapse. This time, here I am, clear-headed,
You had all your support. You had everything.
Yes, I did. But guess what? My other kids who are now adults, now they're seeing the focus shift a little bit, and my daughter has a lot of problems with her brother. I mean, and I think that her biggest fear is what she experienced her whole life, that eventually it would cause me to relapse. And then there I would be. And he would take me down with him. And
I can tell you that we had the same thing with my younger son.
Mm-hmm.
And my younger son, of course, I wasn't somebody who was struggling with addiction, but my younger son didn't like that attention shift either. Mm-hmm. My younger son felt very disrespected that I was the good kid. I walked the line. I didn't disappoint you, but all your time and attention is now being pointed towards my brother, who is a screw up, and he's hurt you, and you're giving him all your time and attention. And I watched the same thing. So I don't know. I'm just saying, coming from a sibling that didn't see me struggling through addiction, still had that same feeling. Mm-hmm. So I think that's pretty normal.
Yeah. And, and I think that, like I said, I'm not ashamed of him and his actions, but I know she is. She doesn't like people knowing that's her brother.
To explain.
Yeah. So, anyway, so of course she sees this, and now, her and our relationship's starting to shift a little bit. And I've got my grandson, that's my dude. I mean, mm-hmm. And things blow up, and he ends up getting really drunk and wrecks her car, the girl, Taylor, with her children. They're with her children. Or no. I take that back. They met the children's dad in Tennessee, and the kids went to Florida. So while they're in Tennessee, before they come back to Kansas City, he gets drunk, wrecks her car, totals it, and now they're stuck in Tennessee. And anyway, now the cops have been involved. Anyway, so disaster happens there. She leaves him. She has her mom come get her, and she lives in Tennessee. I'm on vacation with the whole family. Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm on vacation with my daughter and the family.
Yeah, they don't ever screw up on an idle Wednesday afternoon.
It's Christmas.
Right.
It's Christmas break. Yeah. And here I am because it's Christmas, I'd spent a lot of my savings spending the last dollars that I have in my savings to get him on a bus. First, to get him an Uber to the bus, to get him on the bus, to get him back to Kansas City, and to have my daughter scowling at me and the whole entire time because of, what have you done for him?
Yeah.
You should have left him there. Oh, but and with the agreement that the minute that he got back, guess what he was going to do? He was going straight to treatment. He promises. I promise.
Then when he gets back, he starts negotiating.
He gets back. I don't hear from him. I hear not hiding her hair. Had no idea where he had gone. None whatsoever. Until I eventually found out some shady bar in Kansas City, Kansas is where he's hanging out and doing, and so eventually, that doesn't last long. I can't remember. I want to say maybe
Is he having to check in for probation?
Oh, he's parole? Supposed to, but he's not doing it. And here's this, I like to lay blame somewhere. But here's the other thing. I mean, the minute he got out this time, I had a release sign. I mean, you need to sign a release with your PO so I can stay in communication,
did the
because
same
I know
thing.
you like nobody else. And, and so at first he's okay with doing that. He eventually regrets it, but that stays on file. So sorry. Anyway, so I'm in communication with her and I'm telling her, I'm like, this is going to lead to a complete disaster. I'm telling you, his mind frame is not okay. It's going to be bad. You need to put a warrant out for his arrest. You know what I mean? I'm like informing her, like trying to keep her abreast of all the developments. He did this, because I'm trying to save him from himself.
Yes, I've been there
and
too.
from further harm to society.
Yeah.
And let's just, before something bad happens,
Before he kills himself or somebody else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So
You're not the only mom that's done that. I did it too.
And they don't. Well, I can't do that. I have to violate him first. I have, Anyway, so I get a phone call from someone, a stranger. I'm coming back from Jeff City. I maybe had been at the Capitol that day or something. Here I'm trying to do this stuff. A stranger calls me and says, I know you don't know me. Your son says, please come get him. He needs to come home. He's at, I don't know, some convenience store in Topeka, Kansas. And I'm like, I'm in Jeff City. I can't come to Topeka, Kansas and get my son. Thank you for the phone call. Click. Well, then I get a phone call the next day from jail. He had a gun. He got felon in possession of a firearm in Topeka, Kansas. And now I know I'm like, oh my gosh, that he must have been in a mental crisis when he had this person call me and come get him. And and I'm like, no, Jill, stop it. Stop it. That is not your fault. It is
not your fault.
There I am back with that.
You still have to function in your life.
Yes. So, but I'm going to be supportive and communicate and advocate and all the things and And, he's got a public defender. And I'll tell you what, I will say this. Dealing with Kansas is much nicer than dealing with Missouri. I've come to find out. Very communicative. Easy to get a hold of. Anyway, and now he's gotten back into the Bible, and he's got a clear head, and so I'm like, okay, we can maybe salvage this with only a couple years in prison or something, Anyway, he got a blessing. He got a blessing in Kansas. And by this time he had started, of course, another relationship with someone else that he had known when he was younger. So now they're communicating and whatever.
Another distraction.
Right. So he has this distraction, and she also, they're reading the Bible together, all the things. So anyway, I go to his sentencing, and by golly, the judge gave him probation.
Okay.
With his criminal history. And I was dumbfounded. And, but he's now got a hold in Missouri because he's not done with his parole. So, of course, Missouri came and got him. Okay, well, now we are in a whole new fight because now he's on this steadfast journey with God. Okay, and he can't let trip him up. And, so
how's he going to navigate going back in?
Well, anyway,
he go check himself in?
He did check himself in, but
when we say check him in, he went to administrative segregation to PC, which is
protective custody.
Protective custody.
But then you have the DOC, Department of Corrections, Gang Task Force, Sergeant. Okay. who knows who he is. Okay, so they took him to Fulton and he's waiting for transfer.
And they do this big long list of who your known enemies are.
So he's not buying into it. He's like, no, something's up. He's down there. He's trying to, they must have sent him down there. He must have talked to somebody, wants them in protective custody, probably to get to somebody. To get to somebody, right. And so guess what? Now I'm fighting that fight. I'm fighting with DOC and the sergeant of the gang task force. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. Anyway, Zeke had to prove his seriousness. Now, how he did that, Selena, I don't know. But I'm sure that, we can use our heads. And so
well,
now,
I'll say it so you don't have to.
Okay.
He probably gave up some information to the DOC for proving he is no longer affiliated with them. So it probably brought charges on somebody else, which in prison, that's called a snitch, and it can get you killed. How accurate am I?
You are very accurate. So my son also, so aside from that, the other thing that DOC wanted him to do was to patch out. So he has a huge patch on his neck. He's got all their tattoos. And so these can be covered with sleeves and things, but this one can't. And they were recommending that he get it blacked out. DOC is telling me to do something that would cause me to get a violation, to get this ink covered with somebody giving me, anyway, it made no sense. And so that was the battle.
Let's walk through that for people who don't understand that. So what they're wanting him to do, okay, it's illegal to get tattoos in prison. When you are getting tattoos in prison, it means somebody's watching the door, somebody's paying somebody. It's a whole orchestrated event. And it may take weeks to get a tattoo because you only got a certain amount of time that you can tattoo. And the reason why I know this is Stephen was a tattoo artist in prison. And it is a whole ordeal to tattoo in prison. And if you get caught, you get violation as well as the person that's performing the tattoo. Everybody gets in trouble.
Yeah.
Now, if you can pull the tattoo off without getting caught, they don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
But if you get caught in the process of doing it, everybody's in trouble. But yet the DOC is telling you, Department of Corrections is telling you that he needs to get that tattoo covered up. So you have to go do illegal cover up. Yeah. But you'll get caught. That is so psychologically such a screw up.
Yeah. He refused to do it. He just said, I'm not going to do it. I mean, just keep me in here.
So when you said that your son has a tattoo across his neck that says,
because he was however he went up the chain of command, he was one of those people, all those, the people I think were the soldier, or I don't know, lieutenants or something of the gang.
So my son had "fuck the cops" across his neck.
Yeah. So, now he informs me, but I mean, look, we fast forward. I mean, he only had 10 months till he maxed out, so he's just sat in the hole the whole time. Protective custody.
He's going to ride it out in the hole.
Right. Yeah. And because word's gotten to him that there's a hit and on his head and they will follow through. So now DOC is telling him to cover this up, and out on the yard telling him if he doesn't cover it up, there's going to be anyway.
The gang doesn't want you walking around with
They don't want him associated with him anymore.
Right.
And there's no promises that they won't tag him, beat him up a couple times anyway, just for good measure because of whatever they may have found out that he said.
Right.
So, anyway, and then I get confirmation the sergeant for the gang task force confirms as well that he's also heard word that there's a hit on my son's head. So, I have been fighting that battle, and then also been trying to again contact my resources and get the best laid plan before him, because now he has agreed. I mean, he's done everything but sign in blood that he will do exactly what I have planned for him. And that plan was to go to the healing house. And I, made all the arrangements. The girl, she got new clothes. I mean, he's going to be set up. And me picking him up this time, Selena was a whole different person. I picked up my kid. I picked up my son from prison. He looked so handsome.
Yeah.
He looked so handsome. And and he was in SCC, Southern Correctional Center. So he was all the way down the Boot Hill.
Yeah.
So it was a long drive home.
Good.
But it was, we caught up. It was.
Yeah, when they come home clean, it's a different story.
Oh my
versus
gosh.
coming home still in the game.
Yeah. And
I've had both.
I dropped him off at the healing house, and things were going okay. And, he's got the girl. But she's never been in trouble. She's a good girl. She's a good girl. Anyway. But again, I'm going to take you back to that fear of female abandonment. And so, when I say he looked good, he looked good. And so you got these girls at the healing house that think he looked good too.
Right.
And so he's fighting that off, and I love the healing house. I love them. And they do what they do, and they do it, and it's very successful. But I too have been in the healing house. So I know how they are about fraternizing, and they don't stand for it. And, this is a man has been in prison for a long time, and you're gonna
be
get
the
some
blame.
Attention. You're gonna be the blame if you do anything. Hi, smile, anything. And so he got reprimanded for something, I don't know, being too nice, whatever. And so now him and his infinite honesty and this biblical life that he's now living thinks that he needs to tell her that happened. Well, so now she's insecure. Anyway, so now he's worried about her insecurity, and what if she leaves it?
Yeah.
So now the paranoia is starting, and now, Mom, I just don't know if I can be here. It's too restrictive. It's sort of, and then here I am trying to be understanding, and okay, and I know better. The struggles. And so I'm like, okay, I'll find you another program to go to, because I don't want you leaving here. He's like, at least I'm telling you, and I'm not leaving, like almost giving me an ultimatum.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, I'll find somebody somewhere less restrictive. And mistake. It was way too less restrictive. And yeah, I saw it start to happen, but not so much. Like I spending more time with her, but he's still doing okay. And then he doesn't do okay. And he relapses, but comes back from it. But I knew that it happened anyway. Because he spent Thanksgiving in the hospital. Okay, well, that's another thing, because, well, the incident, and whenever he was 15, he anyway tried to pierce his lip, ended up getting endocarditis, and had staph throughout his bloodstream and almost died, and all these things. So he has calcification on his heart, and it affected his lungs a little. Anyway, so Andy has terrible asthma. So, he's not like in pristine health, and the Department of Corrections doesn't really take that
Right.
good care of you. So that's another thing. He relapses and always ends up in the hospital for something. Anyway, so when he didn't make it to Thanksgiving and he was in the hospital, I knew.
Mhm.
I mean, without him telling me. And then after he got released from the hospital, they got in a huge fight. And he comes to my house and I'm like, look, these are all the reasons I didn't want you to leave. You shoulda, woulda, coulda. And then he said, I married her. And I said, what? He said, I married Megan. I said, oh my gosh, what? And, that's the last thing that you needed to do. And side note, with Taylor, the girl before, with Megan this time, I have been very upfront. I have been very honest. I have been very forthcoming with all of the disasters that will be created if you let my son come just live at your house.
Mm-hmm.
He can't maintain. This is a person that has been locked up more than he is not since he was 13 years old.
Right.
You've got to understand what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And I say that for your own good.
Yeah,
and
they
I
all
will
think
tell
that-
anything
they all
I'm
think
telling
they can
you
save
in front of him.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm going behind his back, Like that's how important this information I'm feeding you is.
Right.
Well, and nobody.
They all think they can save him.
Yes. So, anyway, so they're married, and anyway, it's just one disaster of another, and here I am. I'm calling the PO. Look, it's gonna be bad. I'm telling you. The last one didn't stop him. Can you? All the things. And yeah, I see the psychosis. He's not on his meds. We're taking multiple trips to Rediscover, to urgent care, which is like the emergency room for mental health here in Kansas City. And within days, he's lost his medication again because he's out there flopping around and doing, you know what I mean? It's
Yep.
We're right back.
I call it riding the wave
Yes.
of couches.
Yes. Well, within and it's just getting worse. And I can see something bad happening. He had also gotten into a car accident that was not his fault in her vehicle, and got an attorney. So I knew that he had that money coming, and I didn't want that to happen. You see all the recipes for a collision, a disaster, calamity, and you're trying to like navigate and stop him, I'm like, at one time, during all this little thing, and this has just been last year, folks, he, weirdly, a bus driver found his wallet, Blue Springs bus driver found his wallet, and she happened to know his wife. And she called her, and so then I got the wallet. So there's his ID and there's everything. So now I know he's got this check coming. So I was like, oh, thank God I have the ID. Now he can't get that check. It was like
I've done the same thing.
Oh,
I've done the same thing.
gosh, it's so exhausting.
Stephen had during that COVID money that they sent out? Yes, I snagged it. Snagged it.
Yeah.
And
anything to not have a big amount of money that could kill him. I
snagged it, and then I nickel and dimed him.
Yeah.
Here you go. Here you go. Here you go.
Yep.
I did the same thing.
Yeah. Well, so then I call his dad. And I'm like, because like I was excited. I'm like, listen, because we're communicating. We're friends now. Anyway, and he was like, oh, well, where did they find it? I'm like, well, I'm not sure. I don't know. I said, well, I'll see if I can't find out. Well, it happened to be like up the street from his house. Well, now he thinks that, oh, he must have been over here trying to break in or something. Okay.
Yeah.
So he calls him to go off on him because now he's convinced himself that's what happened. And now Zeke knows I have the wallet.
Nice.
Throw
you under the bus so that he can be.
My front door, pulled in half the grass, banging on the door. Give me my fucking shit. Give me my shit, bitch. Anyway, so So that's the point where we're at in the game. And and then he gets clean for a couple days. Anyway, well, so I had gotten a promotion at work. It's the beginning, first week in June of last year. I am getting trained. So like I'm getting fed. I'm getting fed pertinent information all day long for the next several days because the person whose place I'm taking is, leaving. So I'm trying to get all of this information. And I know that he's out there a mess. He's gotten the
Out
check.
running
He
amok.
got the check. He bought the car. She got a restraining order on him. When they arrested him for this restraining order, they took the car it's an impound. I mean, all the things are happening. And so he's in jail, and then he gets out. Okay, well, now he's got to get this car out of impound. So that's his focus. No meds, meth, and got to get the car. Got to get the money for the car. And so anyway, so that was his mission. And I got a phone call, and it was him. And at this point, I have no idea who he's hanging out with. I don't have any idea where he is. I don't know what he's doing. And I get a phone call, and it's him, and he's real panicky. And I'm like, what is going on? He was like, I need to go to rehab. I need to go back to treatment. I need to go to detox. I need to, you got to come get me. You got to take me to the hospital. I got to, I'm like,
my guess he's done something big and he's trying to find a place to hide out.
Yeah. And so I'm like, what is going on? Where are you even at? Well, I'm at my girlfriend's grandma's. And anyway, and I'm like, Zeke, I am in some intense training. I can't deal with this right now. I'm sorry. Click.
Good for you.
And so about 30 minutes later, my phone rings, and it's his stepmom. And she's just gotten a phone call. And blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, listen, he's on bullshit. It's been going on for weeks. He's not taking his meds. He's back on meth. He is in schizophrenic episodes. He is not sane. I'm telling you, don't do it. Don't go get him. Okay. So then another hour goes by. Another hour or so. And well, they're married. So my daughter-in-law calls me and says, what's going on? Where's Zeke? Do you know what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. You know what? I take that back. It wasn't an hour later. It was hours later. So it was later on in the afternoon. She calls, what's going on? And I'm like, I don't know. He called me earlier. He called his stepmom. I don't know. I'm like, why? She's like, because the detective's calling me, asking me if I'm okay. And I'm like, what? And she was like, yeah, I don't know. I was at the Children's Mercy with, one of the girls had an appointment, blah, blah, blah. I couldn't talk. But I wanted to call you to see what was going on before I called them back. And, I'm like, something bad happened. It had to have had. That's all I know. And I'm like, well, you call me back after you find out. And so she called me back, and she was like, they gave me very little information, but something happened. It was by my mom's house. And so they were worried about me because of the ex parte, and they have checked on my mom. She's okay. And da, 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 da. And really that's all I'm able to piece together. But something happened at a house by my mom's. And so I'm thinking, shit, what happened? So I call Zoe, and I'm like, did you go over there? And she's like, yes, I meant to call you, but I've been busy. She's like, I did go there. And he answered the door, wouldn't open it, sweating profusely, and refused to leave with me. He refused to leave with me. And I'm like, okay, well, something weird is going on because the detectives have called. I'm like, I'm trying to put all this together. And I'm like, where was this? And she's like, by St. Mary's and those townhouses across the street, Stone something or something. I can't remember, Timberbrook or Timber or something. Anyway. And so I'm like, okay. And she said, he shut the door and I left. And I'm like, okay, well, and that was all I had to go. I'm like, and he now, I mean, his phone isn't even doing anything.
Right.
So the next day, I go to work, still trying to figure out what the hell. And I get off work and I go have a couple tacos, Taco Tuesday. And before my tacos arrive, I get a call from my daughter-in-law. And she said, I'm about to send you something, and I hope you're sitting down. And I said, okay. And she sent me a link to the probable cause statement that was on CaseNet. And I couldn't eat my food. I broke down crying. It's kind of a blur a little bit, like, and so I read a version of events that occurred. He was not at his girlfriend's grandma's house. He was at a house or in someone's home. I'm going to tell you what I read, and then I'm going to tell you what the conversation with him was like. I can't tell you verbatim, but I mean, it was heinous. He was running. Anyway, he pushed the air conditioner unit in to a window unit, climbed through the window. Upon doing so, sliced his arm all the way up from his wrist to his shoulder. So there's blood everywhere. There was a young lady, late teens, early 20s, waking up at the same time he was crawling in her window to go to work. I can only imagine what that was like. And you know what's weird? As I tell you that, I can only imagine what that was like for both of them. Because I know him, Anyway, about that time, there was someone yelling from downstairs, and the young lady yelled, "Run, Grandma, run." And anyway, the probable cause statements goes into a whole lot of other details, but he was in their home for 5.5 hours. Initially, Grandma didn't run, but then chaos ensued. A lot of screaming, a lot of yelling to get everyone to quiet down. He shot his gun inside their house. And then you can just imagine how the events, turned out from there. I mean, he did not want to hurt anyone, and he made that very clear. And how he left them is he had them tied up with their elastic workout bands in the basement, and he took their car. Promised them that it would be left safe, and make it come get it. He didn't tell them where they were leaving. But anyway, so and I'm kind of like meshing the probable cause statement and his side of things, but so I read that version of events, and I'm going to stop right there. I forgot to. So before she called me and told me to be sitting down and read that. Right before that, I had gotten a call from Zeke from a number that I did not recognize. And he asked me if I would get him a tent. And I said, what do you need a tent for? What is going on? And he said, I have done something bad. I have done something that will put me away for the rest of my life. And I said, what are you talking about? He said, I can't tell you, but I think right now I need to lay low at a homeless camp or something, and that's why I need a tent. And so I'm like, I'm about to eat dinner. I will call you back and tell you if I can get you a tent. So that's how I left it. So then she calls me right after that. So anyway, so these are what I have. Then I'm reading this. And so then I'm like, I am.
So you have all the information in front of you. You know why he's wanting to live somewhere else.
Yes.
Live in a
Exactly.
off the grid.
Right. And now, and I mean, I am flooded with emotions. I'm flooded with thoughts. I'm flooded with fear. Everything. I'm breaking down at the Mexican restaurant. And about the time I'm breaking down, his stepmom walks in. She doesn't see me, but I see her. And I mean, now I'm like, and now I need someone, and I want to panic and go find her. And then, but then I'm like, no, that's not a good idea. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't get out of my seat. It was the most paralyzing feeling. And yeah, I didn't want to be alone, but yet I couldn't. Anyway.
No, I can, any of us that have ever had a child that has self-destructed, we are hostage to their self-destruction. Mm-hmm. We're hostage to the love we have for them because we're geared and wired to love our children unconditionally. And you're sitting in that unconditional. Mm-hmm. You're sitting in that nature versus nurture and right from wrong. You're sitting in your own moral compass, and you're trying to negotiate your own moral compass with the loyalty and love you have for a child, and it doesn't always mesh up.
No.
It does not always mesh up.
No.
And I can honestly tell you there's going to be a lot of people here. I'm sorry, I'm going to break down. There's going to be a lot of people that listen to this podcast and have never sat in that seat. And they will never understand sitting in the seat of the parent of a child that has self-destructed and destroyed their lives. And they'll never understand the gut-wrenching guilt we feel.
Yeah.
What did I do wrong? What could I have done differently? Why did this happen? We've had a history of school shootings in this country, and they go when they start pointing fingers at the parents and all of that. And I'm not going to get into that because there's so much psychological there. But what I am going to say is nobody checks on those parents.
No.
Nobody checks on those parents. No, and it's destroyed their lives too.
Yep. Yes.
And whether or not they had knowledge and did what they could do for their children is irregardless. At the end of the day, there are multiple lives that are destroyed in those moments. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And parents who have children who have destroyed their own lives as an adult, we still are broken. We are still destroyed by it too. We are part of that wake of destruction.
Yes. Yes, you hit the nail on the head. Yeah. So once I kind of, regained my senses, I was like, I've got to see him. I have to see him. I have to see his face. And by reading the probable cause statement, I knew that he had 2 guns now at this point. And I called him back. Totally shifted my voice, calm, cool, collective.
Yep. Been there. All right.
Okay, let me get you a tent.
All right, kiddo, where you at?
Yeah.
I'm going to bring it to you.
Let me get you a tent. I'm here. I'm about to wrap up eating, and I'm going to go get you a tent. And yeah. Tell me where to drop it off.
Because you had to go put your eyes on him.
Yeah, I did. Because I didn't know what was going to happen from here.
Right.
And
you may not see him again. You don't know how that's going to go down.
Right. So anyway, I didn't go talk to her. I left the restaurant. I called his dad, and I'm like, look, this is bad. Here, I sent it to him. And I went to my house. And I broke my dad's heart. But he had to know. He had to know.
Had the news had any of that on TV? Did you guys know?
That night it came on the 10 o'clock news this night that I'm because now they knew who it was. You know what I mean? So now they could blast this picture on every news channel and be on the lookout and don't approach armed and dangerous. Yeah. So I told my dad, I said, I'm going to see him. He said, no, you're not. I said, I have to go see him. We fought for 5 minutes. And I'm like, Dad, this is something you can't stop me from doing. I said, this is the address he's at. You know, here it is.
This is where I'm going.
I have 2 people when I get in the car that I'm going to have following my location. And if something happens to me, then that was meant to be. I said, but I can't not see him. And so,
I would have done the same.
So I went to see him. He was in Kansas City. And I said, you know, I looked at him and, you know, he looked at me and just, he had anger and hurt and hate in his eyes. And, you know, where's my tent? And I said, I didn't bring a tent. So you're fucking lying. You're a fucking liar. And I said, sure, I'm a liar. I just had to see you. You know, and I walked towards him and I put my hands on his face. And before he could jerk away, I held on tight. And I said, it's bad. And I'm scared I'm not going to see you again alive. And I kissed his cheek and I just grabbed him and hugged him as tight as I could. And he said, you lying bitch, where's my tent? I'm still in your car and getting the tent myself. And I said, you're feeling froggy, jump. I'm right here. The keys are in my pocket. You want to beat me up, mull me over, steal my car? Take my purse too. And he just looked at me and his eyes started filling with tears. And I didn't think you would. And I turned around and I walked away. And I got home and my dad, you know, of course, he was happy to see me. And I stayed up that whole night praying. I didn't know what to do, you know, and there he is again in the morning on the news again. And I'm a mandated reporter. I am a mandated reporter. There was an elderly person harmed, and my son did it. And funny thing, and I'm sure you can relate, the masking, everything's okay. That day was our annual event for work, our annual gala, our huge fundraiser, and
They never mess up
in it.
They never mess up on mundane Wednesday afternoons.
No. And so here it is, the morning of June 5th, 2024. I've been up all night and I'm left with a decision that is going to change 2 people's lives. I went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And who do I call? What do I do? And I mean, I know some people that may hear this may not make much sense. But anyway, he was in Kansas City. He was not in Blue Springs where the event took place and where he has caught all of his charges. And they don't like him at all. They would have hurt him very badly. They may have killed him and gave him And so the fact that he was in Kansas City, a jurisdiction that doesn't really know him, they
It
don't.
was actually probably safer for him.
Exactly. So I took that into context, and I called this PO. The first thing I said to her was, I'm sure you've lost count of how many times I've called to tell you that something bad was going to happen. But I will tell you I was right. And she was like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, not near as sorry as I am because of what I'm about to do. I said, I know where he's at. I want him taken into custody safely. I don't think that he would open fire. I don't believe that. Anyway, so
Did you at least get it asked for CIT on the site?
I told her, yes, I told her all the circumstances, all the situation, everything.
CIT is, what is it? A
Crisis intervention team.
Yes.
And they're mental health responders as well. And so it went very smoothly, but they had everything. They had the helicopters, they had the tanks.
So they took him into custody?
Yes. The moment he heard his name on the bullhorn, he
Okay,
took his...
I'm going to back up here just a second because I want to make sure we don't skip over this. So you gave the location.
Mm-hmm.
You turned your son in.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I did that for two reasons. And I don't even want to say reason one and reason two because they're both equally. There is equal in to save his life and to save anyone else in the community that could have been harmed.
So I also turned Stephen in. And I have friends that have had to turn their son or daughter in. And I don't think, if you have never sat in that position, I don't think anybody can understand the level of disloyal it makes you feel. That ultimately you choose to follow your moral compass over your parental bond that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And it is not done easily. And people, I've had criticism of, why didn't you turn him in sooner? Why didn't, you, but people don't understand that it takes a minute to get there.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a minute to mentally get to where you can justify what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, he gets arrested. It goes on, like I said, that they pulled no punches. They had everything there. The girl whose house, she, afterwards told me everything that took place. But the minute he heard his name, the cops call his name on the bullhorn, he took his shirt off, put his shoes on, walked out backwards with his hands up, and said, the stolen property that you are looking for, the gun, is in a blue backpack in the living room. And off he went. Well, so I get a phone call. I guess it would have been the next morning.
So you weren't aware when it went down?
Right. I'm trying to, little fuzzy, because the gala went on late into the night. So I really wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, I was worried about that the whole entire time, but fitting on this face, smiling, oh, everything's great, you know the drill.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I can't remember if you know what? He did call me that night. It was late that night. And first thing out of his mouth was, did you turn me in? And I said, yes, I did. And he said, called me a few choice names.
Sure.
Wada, wada, wada. And then he said, well, I need you to bring my meds and whatever. And I hope you're happy. He was like, they had to take me to the hospital for my arm. And I was at the ER and knew every single person in there. And he said, and to top it off, so my oldest granddaughter, her parents were at the ER. So, and there's already been, a disconnect because she doesn't really let me have a relationship at this time with my granddaughter because she doesn't want Zeke to play a part in things because Zeke is not stable.
He's unstable.
Yeah. So, so we had to, and but the last time that they had seen him was whenever he was doing really good there at first, and he had gone to their house and prayed with them and done all this stuff, and now they're seeing him in this situation like 3 months later.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So anyway, that was about the end of the conversation, but it has shifted our relationship.
So where is he now?
So right now he is in Jackson County Jail. And it took a minute for me to get his side of the story because of, the phone and things like that. But once the discovery came out and
so when they say the phone, what you mean is that everything's recorded, so he's careful with what he's sharing with you.
Yeah. And I'm
Because
pretty hip to it too, so I know.
Because he has to not tell everything because it's part of his defense.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So then we get discovery. Discovery is every single solitary detail of the whole entire crime,
in the
all
investigation,
the police reports, everything.
Everybody's statement, everybody's assumption, all of it.
Mm-hmm. And then let's not forget his stepmom went to the scene of the crime, and he refused to leave with her.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. She's part of that because she went to the scene of the crime.
Go to the police station and do all that stuff. Anyway, so once we get discovery, then you see what's stacked against him. This is a case that cannot go to trial. This case can't go to trial. Number one, his blood is everywhere, DNA. Shortly after everybody calmed down, he started talking about Jesus and trying to tell them that he's not dangerous. He loves Jesus. And then they didn't seem convinced. So he had the girl pull up his Facebook profile on her cell phone so she could see that he has a great relationship with Jesus. And he does. But this is, anyway, this is just complete mental illness.
Yes, mental illness. He's in psychosis.
Exactly.
So I have to swing back around to something else because I don't want anyone to think that we are not acknowledging there were two victims here.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so let's make sure that we say let's share a little bit about, because my son had victims too.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I have been the person, first of all, there's victims involved in it, and then there's secondary victims, which are us, because we know better and know they shouldn't have done those things, and we're hurt by their behaviors when it hurts other people. So I can feel that for you because it sucks to be the mother of a child who's so out of control that they've harmed somebody.
Right.
But let's make sure we give the victims some acknowledgement here.
Yes, absolutely. And I want to say this, and two things can be true at the same time.
Yes.
Because their experiences were two very different experiences.
Their experiences were happening too.
And in reading what they went through, it's just heartbreaking.
Probably had to be heartbreaking to hear them.
I don't even know if I should say this, but I just want people to know like how real this is and how, we don't know what to do as parents.
Yeah.
But, for almost 3 weeks straight, every day, I drove by those people's house, hoping that maybe somebody would be outside. And what would I do?
You feel for them. You feel for the experience that they went through.
Yes. And
you think if would-haves, could-haves, if they were outside, maybe I'd have the nerve to stop to say I'm sorry because they deserve to hear that.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you want them to know that my son is mentally ill and I'm sorry for what he did, but I didn't, nobody wanted him to harm you.
Yeah.
Is probably what you're thinking.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah. I've been on the same situation with Stephen. He's had crimes, or he's done some crimes, and he harmed people, and that he affected their lives forever. And I'm sure you're probably, you're going to always carry that too.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people harmed by his actions that day.
Yes. Yes. And so, he thought that the police were chasing him. He was in a complete mental psychosis that was meth
Meth-induced.
fed by the meth. And, basically he didn't think about anybody being on the other side of the window. And then he realized he was in a cage. Once he realized what he had done and the magnitude of it, he was like a rat in a cage and didn't know how to get out and didn't, you know what I mean? And so here we are. Now, during all this craziness and calamity, his wife got pregnant. And so I have a beautiful granddaughter.
What year did this happen?
This happened last year.
That's what I thought.
2004. Yeah. So she will be one September 2nd. Her birthday's this weekend. Birthday party. Anyway, but so now we have 2 children that will never know their dad.
So he's still sitting in Jackson County awaiting for...
He is waiting. He is waiting for a transfer, a DMH transfer, Department of Mental Health, to a facility to be stabilized and reassessed because at present, they found him to not be competent in knowing the severity of the acts that he committed. But there are also 460 other people in county jails waiting for the same transfer. So that is something that won't happen very soon. And if it were to happen...
I'm going to have to ask you to back up here because I'm a little confused and I know others will be. So has he done a plea bargain yet? Or no, we are just now waiting for the assessment
for
mental health.
The only offer. Now, he racked up 12 felonies, 5 of those which are ACAs, which you may know, Stephen. They carry 5 to 15 years.
ACAs.
Armed criminal action.
Okay. We didn't have any of those.
Okay. So he had the ACAs and then kidnappings and assault and,
So those are considered violent crimes. And so that takes on, that takes on a whole new aspect of sentencing.
The sentencing aspect changes. And so the only thing that was ever presented was an open plea with a judge, meaning the judge decides the sentence at a 16-year cap. Okay? That sounds like a pretty good deal to me. For real. I mean, when I consider his criminal history and the severity of the crimes that we're talking about, I mean, I thought that was probably Anyway.
Stephen did 8 years and it wasn't a violent crime.
Right, exactly. So, but we're talking about Jackson County too. And then he's sitting in there with people that, I'm like...
Jackson County, in all honesty, most people who have been in and out of Jackson County would rather go sit in Department of Corrections. Jackson County is
horrific.
It's unsafe.
Yes.
It is run by a not-for-profit system, but they're a foreign entity as well. And it is like a third world country, glorified third world country. It is horrific
It
sitting in Jackson County. It is so dysfunctional in there,
Yeah.
which most people that are listening to this podcast may already have some, I mean, if you're looking for this content, you probably already know some of these stories. But for people who have never been in prison or in jail, going to Jackson County is extremely traumatizing.
Very. So, so that's where he's been for a year. He did have court last week. His attorney and I talked a little bit. I told him initially, I can't pay for an attorney. I didn't do this, da, 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 da. And then after his first court date and how I watched the courtroom mocking him, and I mean, cause he was still cuckoo. His meds hadn't stabilized him.
Right.
He's still in that mental state of anger and I mean, and he, but everybody in court was laughing at his mental illness, and I don't know. I felt like as his public defender, I realized this is the first time meeting him, but you should be a little bit more of a stand-up person, and at least, why are people laughing at my kid? Anyway, so I decided then, okay, well, I'm going to break down and get an attorney. Anyway, every time I pay the attorney every month, I wish I wouldn't have done it, but I did.
Yeah, it's pretty expensive.
So, anyway, and, he brought something to my attention that, if this transfer happens that we're waiting on, and they deem him incompetent and not guilty by reason of insanity, then that will be it for the rest of his life. He will be getting a life sentence. Because once you've been deemed, through the Department of Mental Health, then you're in a mental health facility for the rest of your days. You get no freedom, you know what I mean? That's just the way you'll live your life. You may be in group homes and things like that, but that'll be it. And I think that he has a chance. And so, right now it's kind of him and I going back and forth with what I think he should just go ahead and take, because this is a case that is not going to trial. That's a death sentence too, virtually. I mean, eventually. And, so
So he's sitting there trying to decide which is the best scenario.
Right.
Being in Department of Mental Health the rest of his life.
Now, let's not forget, he has a hit on his head in the Missouri Department of Corrections.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's
yeah. So he's going to AgSeg, and he's still not safe in AgSeg.
Right. And with a 15-year sentence. I mean,
yeah.
So anyway, it's that's where we're at. That's where we are at present. And like I said, it has shifted our relationship. I mean, I don't. It shifted my perspective on things. It did something inside me. I don't love him any less. I don't want to support him any less. But when he hurt women,
yeah, changed it.
It changed it for me, being a woman.
Yeah,
and thinking,
because you're a woman before you're a mother.
Yeah,
and this young man that you raised him with him seeing the harms that have come your way, and now he's emulated the same behavior. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I can see how that's going to be a struggle. Let me ask you this, and this is a hard question. Do you feel some sense of relief that he's sitting in jail?
Yes.
Not that hard, is it, to answer that?
No.
I was very much would feel the same way when Stephen was in jail. Because I could have a moment of sanity in my life if he was not on the streets.
Right. Right.
That's what mental illness has done to our family.
Yeah.
And yours, it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah. And, it's easier for me to sit out here and, advocate for different issues he's having in there than to be chasing him around and wondering, did you ever wonder that? I mean, it's like, if nobody knows him because he's locked up all the time. I mean, so doesn't have a lot of friends and stuff. I mean, like I would think if if something happened, I would have no idea. If something really bad happened, I would have no idea.
In Department of Corrections or out on the streets?
Like on the streets.
Well,
Like, and
okay, so
that was
how
like-
I did this, how I survived that fear. Stephen was so heavily tattooed, and it was so well knowledged
Yes.
with the police department
Yes.
that his tattoos would have identified himself. As a matter of fact, when he was shot in Tacoma, Washington, or it was actually in Fife, Washington, and he was listed a John Doe. He had not been in their system. They did not know who he was. When I hunted him down through his phone and got a hold of a detective, the detective said, "Can you give me anything on his body that we could identify?" I identified him on his tattoos.
Yes.
And that's how they knew that he was
Yes.
the John Doe sitting in the hospital.
Yeah.
I never worried about Stephen's identity because he was so tattooed, prominently tattooed, and it was so documented through Department of Corrections and everywhere else.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
I never thought about that.
No. He would have to get to a coroner
Well,
or
right,
to
right.
a
Yeah.
police in order for me to find out. That was always my fears. How long would he lay dead before I
Yeah.
would be notified?
Yeah. 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 And, here's a example of something when I said advocate for like these small things, just so he's been in the hole. Anyway, for doing something he should not have.
He's probably safer in the hole, though.
Well, yeah, he is, but I mean, and now I have nothing to lose. Now so he's doing real dumb stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Real dumb stuff.
Yeah.
So he got himself.
And that does become dangerous when they have nothing to lose. That it does become dangerous because they can also be manipulated into carrying out a hit because they don't have anything to lose, and it will earn them higher up in even though he's sitting in county. That information will get passed on, and maybe he's trying to dig himself out of the situation with. He may be trying to earn himself where he can walk the yard. And it's really sad. It just hit me. I'm angry that I know all of that. I'm angry that I know how the prison system works, never stepping a day in prison.
Yeah. Yeah. I can only imagine how that would be, I mean, yeah, I get it.
That tells you how close I was with Stephen and how much he shared and trusted me with the information he gave me because I know a lot of that.
Oh, I know.
I am very grateful that you sat down and shared this with me. I know that we could sit and talk and maybe I'll bring you back on and we'll talk more because you have plenty more to share. But I have to tell you that we have shared some of the same situations with our children. We have, it's amazing that our lives hadn't crossed before now because there's so many similarities and people in common. But I am also, we're rolling into the fall. Stephen passed away in the fall. I'm very triggered very easily by some of these reminders of life before Stephen passed away, even life before he was injured. But Jill, I am honored to have sat here and shared with you the parts of my son's story through your son's story. And we are sharing these very difficult parts of our lives with other mothers that don't have somebody in their corner listening to them or sharing, giving them a voice to hear besides just their own. And they're not going to be sitting in silence, suffering through the chaos and the turmoil of what they're experiencing with their loved one. And I want you to know that you're a part of that journey and that story, or bringing that story out for other mothers. And so I'm glad that you came and sat with me again and shared your story of your son. And we know that from what you're sharing, this story isn't over yet. There's more that will be coming. Just know your thoughts, or my thoughts and my heart are with you as you're stepping through that journey with your son. And I know this is going to be tough for you.
Mm-hmm.
It would be for any mama.
Mm-hmm.
And know that you did everything you could do, knowing what you've already been through, knowing the path you already took. I know you're going to stand with him. I know you're going to support him. I know you're going to be there every step of the way with him.
Mm-hmm.
Do what you think is best. And don't worry about what anybody else thinks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody else is in those trenches with you.
Right. Right. If you haven't walked it, you have no idea.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to ever feel like I should have done this differently. You make the best decision with the information you have in front of you in that moment. And if you get more information later on, you weren't supposed to have it then.
Yep.
You got the information when you received it for a reason, and you made the best decision at the time.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say this with you saying that. You and I weren't supposed to meet.
No.
Until
now.
We did.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
I treasure you, and and because moms, you and I, and having to make the decisions that we've had to make and go through the things that we've had to go through, to have that connection is one of the most treasured things that I have. And like, I told you before, I feel like our souls have crossed for a reason.
Well, I can tell you that I'm, by nature, I'm kind of stoic. And my son prepared me to handle the crazy in life because, because he brought a lot of crazy to my life. But occasionally when I sit down with another mother and I can feel I can feel the emotion in what you're sharing because I can put myself in your footsteps. That's when it's important for us to make space in the room for each other.
Yes.
Is I'm here and I hear what you're saying because I've lived it too.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much for being here with me today.
Thank you so much, Selena.
Yeah. All right. You guys, listen, if you guys have lived this kind of an experience, you'll know that both Jill and I have always loved our children, and it's not always been easy to love them. So, if you're suffering, if you've been a parent of a child who has put your life through hell and back, just know you're not alone. There's a lot of us out here. You can find me on TikTok and follow along and hear my story of Stephen. My TikTok is Miss Sassy, Sasse. If you're watching me, you're probably watching me on YouTube. Jill, is there any way that, are you on social media? Can they follow you at all?
Mm-hmm. I am on social media, and all of my social media is Jill Hanlin.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us here today, Jill. And you guys, thank you so much for joining Beyond the Storm with Selena. Take care.